Semiconductor prices are dropping because of rising living costs. How does this affect Taiwan's biggest industry? Can Taiwan make the next Squid Game? Top media executives aim to turn the country into a film and TV powerhouse, just like South Korea.
I'm Louise Watt, and I've come to Taiwan's outlying islands of Matsu to find out how people here feel being so close to China.
Plus, we take a look at how Taiwan's recent cold front not only brought down the temperature, but also the number of fish. A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Liao. Semiconductor prices have been dropping. This is largely because of rising inflation and the cost of living. The semiconductor industry makes up a core part of Taiwan's economy. Industry leaders are hoping the market will soon return to normal to avoid major economic fallout. Bing Wang reports.
These engineers in hazmat suits are making sure this semiconductor plant runs smoothly 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. More than 90% of the world's most advanced semiconductors are produced right here in Taiwan. They end up in all types of tech, from smartphones and personal computers to cutting-edge fighter jets. 2020 saw the beginning of a global semiconductor chip shortage because of production holdups and supply chain issues. This was in part due to the COVID-19 pandemic and Russia's invasion of Ukraine. As such, for most of the past 2 years, demand for chips has been extremely high. But things are starting to change. The world is gradually emerging from the COVID pandemic. As it does, many are feeling a sharp financial pinch from rising living costs and inflation. Because of this, people are more hesitant to purchase pricey electronic goods. This means there's now a chip excess, and semiconductor prices are dropping. At the current rate, experts believe chip prices could fall by more than 10% in the first quarter of next year. Taiwan Mask Corp, a major semiconductor manufacturer, is one of the companies most heavily affected by this shift in the market.
虽然现在世界情势还有经济的局势蛮挑战的哈，其实光照也有感受到，但是我想光照今年当初原先所编列的一些计划，仍然能够如实的去执行，那我想仍然是一季比一季好。
But analysts believe demand will eventually recover and begin to rise again by next year, especially with increasing global reliance on digitalization, 5G, and artificial intelligence technologies.
我想大部分的厂商其实都有一些共识，在明年的第一季跟第二季，产业其实会慢慢的回温。
For now, though, the looming financial fallout is a very real and very serious issue for Taiwanese chip makers. Semiconductors account for almost 40% of Taiwan's exports. If demand for chips stays low, this could make a significant dent in the country's economy. Kama Xu and Bing Wang for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's export orders fell in November for the third straight month. That's according to the country's economics ministry. Orders dropped by around $50 billion, a decrease of more than 23% year on year. It's the biggest annual decline since April 2009. Economists cite slowing demand for Taiwan's electronic and technology products for the contraction. Export orders are a leading economic indicator. Many of Taiwan's exporters are key suppliers of components and finished products for major international brands. Demand for such goods was strong at the height of the pandemic. But global inflation and multiple interest rate hikes by central banks have reduced consumer appetite for new gadgets in recent months. Taiwan's military says that it will extend basic training for its volunteer forces starting next year. Under the new guidelines, Taiwan's volunteer soldiers will need to complete 8 weeks of basic training, a total of 380 hours. That's up from the previous 5-week program, 230 hours in total. Soldiers will also undergo a new shooting regimen that integrates more movement in between target practice. China has been ramping up its military activity around the country in recent years. There have been calls for Taiwan to extend its mandatory military service period from the current 4 months to 1 year. The Defense Ministry says it has drawn up plans but has not confirmed when or if these will be enacted. Taiwanese media executives are looking for ways to turn Taiwan into a film and TV powerhouse, much like what has been achieved by South Korea. They're now working with the government and streaming service Netflix to try and boost the country's soft power and bring Taiwanese entertainment to the world. Stash Butler has more.
Squid Game was a worldwide smash hit. The South Korean TV show racked up more than 1.5 billion hours of views in 2021 to become Netflix's most watched show. It's part of a worldwide boom in Korean film and television media, following on from the movie Parasite's historic success at the Oscars the year before. And that success has got Taiwan talking. Here in Taipei, government and media industry leaders have gathered for a special forum to answer a simple question. How can Taiwan become a TV and film powerhouse just like its northern neighbor? For Taiwan, exporting its cinema is a path to soft power, using Taiwanese culture to win hearts and minds of people around the world. And that's all the more vital given Taiwan's tenuous international position. Only a handful of nations officially recognize Taiwan as an independent country, and neighboring China, which considers Taiwan as part of its territory, continues to increase political and military pressure, opposing the island nation's sovereignty.
台湾正是因为有一个很特殊的一个政治地位在国际上面，我们很需要更多国际友人的认同，所以台湾才应该要更努力发展内容产业。现在 content 已经变成是一个世界大战，已经是一个 world war， 战争不能这样打，战争是必须要花真金白银、真枪实弹才能跟别人对抗的。
But it's not just soft power, it's also about money.
韩国的娱乐内容强大，让大家对于韩国文化的兴趣提高，所以想学韩文。那学了韩文之后，他可能就会进一步的想去韩国旅游，想买韩国车，买韩国手机。这个才是内容产业其实真正可以帮其他产业助攻一个最强大的地方。
In 2018, South Korea's film and TV industry directly contributed $6.4 billion to the country's economy. On top of that, it indirectly boosted other industries, adding another $5.2 billion and induced extra demand in the local economy, worth $4 billion. That adds up to a total contribution of $15.7 billion. Senior Netflix executive Min Young Kim says Taiwan has the talent to bring in that kind of money.
The creative community, the infrastructure, the skill set of our production staff, it's really one of the top notch. So I really want to make sure that we are able to show the world that, not only Korea, not only Japan, but shows that come from Taiwan and the Chinese language content we're making together can actually surprise the world too.
But to get there, Taiwan has some catching up to do.
以台湾现在目前我们看到的影视作品，或是说内容产业跟韩国的差距，我觉得讲比较保守一点，大概差5年。可是如果要讲比较实际的，我觉得至少10年以上。
Taiwan may want to emulate South Korea's success, but that doesn't mean that whatever works in one country will necessarily work in another. Min Young Kim and the head of Taiwan's public broadcaster PTS say Taiwan needs to play to its strengths and tell its own unique stories.
没有哪一个模式是可以直接移植到台湾来，台湾必须要找出自己的优势，而这优势是存在。
We want you to tell the story that you are good at. We want you to tell the story, not something that you don't know, but something that you know, but with a bigger vision, with a bigger imagination.
Speakers at the Asia Hub New Media Summit agree Taiwan has all the elements for success. All the country needs is to find the right stories to tell, the right people to tell them, and the right platforms to host them, so that when the next hit like Squid Game lands, it will come from Taiwan. Klein Wang and Stash Butler for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen has welcomed a group of visiting United States lawmakers at the presidential office in Taipei. Led by Utah Congressman John Curtis, the all-Republican congressional group is visiting from the 17th to the 22nd of December. Curtis previously lived as a missionary in Taiwan. He said the delegation's visit is a testament to the strong support for the island republic in the U.S. Congress. The group's visit brings the total number of American representatives and senators to have visited Taiwan this year to 36. Taiwan's health ministry has warned of shortages of one of the country's most popular painkiller brands, which contains the active ingredient paracetamol. It comes as neighboring China sees record high COVID cases and amid ongoing flu epidemics in Europe and the United States. Deputy Health Minister Victor Wong said unusual bulk purchasing of the medicine was behind the shortages.
然后这种药物我们是应该要依需求来适量去购买。 不要这个大量购买转寄国外。
Despite a surge in tensions between China and Taiwan this year, residents on Taiwan's outlying islands of Matsu, just a few kilometers from the Chinese coastline, aren't so worried about conflict anymore. And they're pushing for their links with China to be reopened. TaiwanPlus reporter Louise Watt traveled to Matsu to find out more.
Taiwan's islands of Matsu used to be on the front lines of conflict. Even through the mist, a clear warning they're always poised for battle. We sleep with our spears, the old slogan reads. At their closest point, these islands are just 10 kilometers from China, an easy target for President Xi Jinping and his communist forces if they decide to attack Taiwan. Tensions between Beijing and Taipei are at their highest in decades, with China increasingly sending military planes and ships to up the pressure on Taiwan, which it claims as part of its territory. But the people on Matsu are no longer so worried about a possible conflict.
这个船只都在我们周围，我们也没有怎么样啊，都觉得反正都很近啊，哎，我们航班飞过来，都经过他们的领空进来了，哎，也没有怎么样啊，所以我是觉得没什么呀。
不会担心我们马祖很安全了，他不会打了，不会打了。
Taiwan has lived with the threat of invasion since it split from China in 1949. But it was the outlying islands like Matsu that were regularly shelled by China during a Cold War. And while signs of war are still everywhere in Matsu, people here have close ties with the giant on their doorstep. A shared dialect with Chinese in Fuzhou City across the water, trade and investment links, and family.
我们马祖这边跟中国那边几乎都是算是一起的，因为有很多大陆的也来到马祖这边定居。
Matsu can also feel cut off from the rest of Taiwan. From Matsu, it's just a 25-minute boat ride to China. But this is the ferry from Matsu to the Taiwan mainland. It takes 10 hours. There are much quicker flights to Taipei, but they're often cancelled because of fog. Against this relative isolation, residents in Matsu and other outlying islands, Kinmen, are pressing for the resumption of unique postal, travel and business connections with China. Known as the Mini 3 Links, they are separate from the rest of Taiwan and stopped almost 3 years ago after the outbreak of COVID. Reopening them would help ease tensions, says Taipei, who previously served in various Matsu government departments. He's been collecting signatures to petition Taiwan's government to act.
那我们这边的生意就会做得比较更好。不管在旅游业啦，或者是经济上面的互动啦，但是在政治上面，其实我认为我们跟他小三通以后，也会缓和两岸之间的缓冲剂。
Should conflict break out, many in Matsu feel that advances in technology must mean these islands are no longer a target.
现在的战争的观念，不是巷战，不是肉搏战，是决战在千里之外，这个叫做境外战争啦。那老公要打，他没有必要打2次嘛，打你马祖再打1次，再打台湾1次，没有这样子作战的啦。 他一定在境外就直接就打你台湾嘛。
For many here, the front lines and potential crisis have moved from Matsu to the Taiwan mainland. And to decrease the talk of war, The islanders say their closeness to China should be used instead to improve relations between the two sides. Damon Lin and Louise Watt for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's state-run power company Taipower is planning to issue unsecured corporate bonds to raise cash. It will issue more than $600 million worth of bonds in mid-January 2023. The company has suffered heavy losses due to the increasing price of fuel worldwide. Its debts reached nearly $70 billion at the end of October. More than 80% of Taipower's electricity comes from imported oil and gas, which has soared in price since the war in Ukraine. While many energy suppliers around the world have seen profits rise after passing costs on to consumers, Taipower's prices are capped by the government. Electricity prices in Taiwan were raised in July but remain among the world's lowest. Coming up, a baseball tournament with heart. Find out how sport is bringing together children from Taiwan's indigenous communities.
By clicking on that play button, I assume you're ready to explore the flavors of Taiwan with me.
This kind of tastes like home cooking. Paul cooks very similar to the dishes that are very similar to what my mom makes at home.
Sometimes I guess it's really not about how the food tastes like, it's about the love and devotion you put into it.
Mary is often walking around the restaurant, toasting and cheers, having a drink with everybody.
在辛苦的工作，用那种快乐的心情来经营的话，那你每天就会过得比较快乐一点。
虽然小小一家店，它的服务员也算是有不错的训练，像那个香芹牛肉，我很少吃到台菜有牛肉这样子做。
我开店没有什么，我就是想要改变台湾餐饮业的一个观念跟一个做法。
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Hard to imagine Chef Xionghe had to cut box after box of vegetables because he made a promise to himself and his parents that he won't let anybody down. I like this dish not only because it's flavorful and very delicious, but it is the product of love. And I am a person about love. I love what's made out of love and what love creates.
我做了很多的茶餐，做了很多的茶点，借由吃茶餐的过程当中来认识茶，进而来品茶。
Today I'm like the apprentice, following a chef, learning about his day, knowing what to do when you're working at a restaurant.
Welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. North Korea on Tuesday slammed Japan's planned military buildup. Pyongyang labeled Japan's pledge to spend $320 billion on defense wrong and dangerous. Japan unveiled a new military strategy last week. It includes responses to threats posed by Russia, China, and North Korea. It will make Japan the world's third largest military spender after the United States and China. North Korea has launched a record number of missiles this year, with some landing close to Japan. Pyongyang also said sanctions would not stop its missile program. Nations at the COP15 UN summit have reached a historic agreement aimed at protecting global biodiversity. Early on Monday morning, delegates from nearly 200 countries agreed to safeguard a third of the planet for nature by the year 2030. The two-week conference in Montreal is the biodiversity equivalent of the COP27 climate talks, which were held in Egypt last month. Negotiations at the meeting were led by China. Despite a last-minute objection from the Democratic Republic of Congo, COP15 President and Chinese Environment Minister Huang Renqiu ruled on the agreement.
I do not see objection. The package is adopted.
我再次呼吁大家，与我们共同努力。 拿出你们的诚意，包容和灵活性，相向而行，尽快达成 2020年后全球生物多样性框架。
More than 30 sailors from Thailand's Navy are still missing after their ship sank in the Gulf of Thailand on Sunday night. 75 of the 106 people aboard the HTMS Sukhothai were rescued after the Thai military deployed search teams in the early hours of Monday morning. But 31 crewmen remain unaccounted for. The small Royal Thai Navy warship was hit by strong winds and waves just before midnight. The vessel then flooded, lost power, and sank. Search efforts to find the missing personnel are ongoing. Taiwan's Care Cup is a baseball tournament for children from indigenous communities or remote areas. The annual sports event is not just a competition, it's also a time for professional baseball players to give back to society. This year, the tournament had a record number of teams sign up, including one from Green Island. Yu Jinghuang was there.
Team Colosseum Current is about to win its first match ever at the Care Cup. We already know how this game will end. It's already 12-3. But still, the players, the coach, and the fans are thrilled when they win. It's a big deal for the team. They've traveled all the way from a small island, and it's a rare win for them. But 5th grader Wei Tingyu says he's just happy to be here.
绿岛场地没这么好，这边台中场地比绿岛好很多，因为绿岛场地都坑坑巴巴的，终于可以打到球了。因为去年没有比赛，今年才有，然后就很高兴。
The team from Gongguan Elementary had to take a 50-minute boat ride just to get here. Green Island, where they live, has a small population. That means they rarely get to play against kids their own age. And that's what the Care Cup is all about. The Care Cup tournament was launched in 1994. The goal is to give children from remote or indigenous communities the opportunity to pursue their baseball dreams. They can put their training to the test and interact with professional players. After each match, the pros chat with the kids and give them pointers.
因为我会让小孩子们 他们终于有一个未来，有一个目标，在现场让这些大哥哥们呢，就能够亲自跟他们来面对面。也就是说，他们的梦想、他们的理想，在眼前这些大哥哥们可以呈现在你的面前，跟你做一个交流，可以让他们在对球场上的一个热爱能够持续努力下去。
This year, the tournament starts with a special old boys game, where all of the participants are retired players, including some of the Care Cup's founders, like Zheng Xingsheng. Zheng is an indigenous Amis player. He invited some professional players with similar backgrounds to return to their roots. Lin Zhisheng holds the record for the most home runs in Taiwan's professional baseball league. To him, inspiring the next generation of players is important, and seeing the children play each year helps motivate him in his own games.
以后我要开始打棒球，你要打职棒了。以后我老退休的时候，我打 OB 了，然后你就是来关怀小朋友，对吧？
The Colosseum Current players are walking away today with more than just a win under their belt. They've also learned a lot from these pro players, like how to deal with defeat.
输球不要怕，因为打比赛就认真打，拿出气势，输了没关系，下一次认真就好。
Whether these children go on to become professional players or not, they've already caught the spirit of baseball. And that's what the Care Cup is all about. Alex Chen, Biqi Zhuang, and Eugene Huang for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's latest cold front not only has people feeling the chill, animals like the milkfish, which are sensitive to colder weather, have started to die off. This is putting pressure on Taiwan's fishing industry to come up with solutions to save the fish. Jaime Okan has the story.
These fish farmers in central Changhua City are racing to save what's left of their stock. They mainly raise milkfish, which are particularly sensitive to temperature changes. Taiwan's first cold spell of winter has dropped temperatures down to 3 degrees in some places, causing much of the fish to die.
小老板都要赶快收，你收成都很不好。对啊，
这样跑几成？
有一半以上。
Milkfish is one of the most popular edible fish in Taiwan, so it's always in demand. Fish farmers have turned to a unique solution to combat the cold weather. They used a system of pipes and tubes to pump hot water into the fish's habitat. This keeps the water from freezing and doesn't bother the other animals that share the pools.
牛肉拢会死啦，这2天我甲观察起咯，蛤蟆无变化啦，原料的沙巴佫无看死。
More cold weather is expected, and these fish farmers hope their heating system will keep their fish safe throughout the end of the season. Patrick Chen and Jaime Okan for TaiwanPlus.
Hundreds of worshippers are lining up at Taipei's Longshan Temple to take part in an annual Lunar New Year tradition. People light special lanterns to pray for good luck in the coming year. The temple offers 800 spots a day for lamp lighting for just 3 days. Worshippers will start lining up before dawn on Wednesday for their last chance for a good luck lantern before the Year of the Rabbit. Longshan Temple was built over 280 years ago and is a National Heritage Site. Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we leave you with images of the beautiful autumn scenery at Mingsi National Forest Recreation Area in northeastern Taiwan. I'm Liao. Take care and see you next time.